You're all very welcome to our first gathering of 2022, especially to our new members. Firstly, what do we do? Good question. We offer a range of services such as cognitive behaviour therapy, counselling, yoga, Reiki, Indian head massage and much more. Everyone here has experienced trauma for various reasons, and our goal at CAMS is the preservation and protection of the people of the city from stress due directly or indirectly to the Troubles. We know that talking to people helps us with our shared experiences. Positive shared experiences like our nights of poetry and drama, short stories, music and song helps us all focus on the positives of life. CAMS first came together in Derry towards the end of 1994. It emerged as a tentative response to a clearly felt need for structured and effective assistance and support for people suffering from stress and stress-related illnesses. The name CAMS itself is an acronym for Community Action for Locally Managing Stress. CAMS' focus is on the prevention and management of stress. We have received funding from the Victim Survivor Service under Social Isolation Strand to implement our latest innovative programme titled Hotseat, using the performing arts as a creative vehicle for managing stress. The arts are a creative door into our minds and helps us avail of new experiences. Tonight, you will be members of the jury on the trial of Raymond Rafferty. You will be deciding if he is guilty of murder most foul or an innocent man merely in the wrong place at the wrong time. You decide.
All stand for Lord Justice Basil Buchanan presiding.
Prosecution in this case is Jonathan Kane and the defence is Michal Moriarty. Mr. Raymond Rafferty, would you please take the stand?
Mr. Rafferty, please raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible. Mr. Rafferty, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Raymond Rafferty, you stand before us accused of the second-degree murder of Robert McBride. How do you plead?
Definitely not guilty, big man.
You mean not guilty, Your Honour.
You're right, Your Honour.
Mr. Kane, your witness.
Thank you. Mr. Rafferty, or should I call you Smizer?
Mr. Rafferty, if you don't mind.
Well, Mr. Rafferty, how do you explain having Robert McBride's blood on your hands the night in question?
We had a bit of a row. I had him to shut him up, but that was it. God rest Robbie.
So you admit striking Mr. McBride on the night in question?
I'm pleading the Fifth Amendment.
This is not the United States, Mr. Rafferty. Either you did or you did not strike Mr. McBride.
No comment.
Please answer the question, Mr. Rafferty.
I only had him once. Oh, bless him. Hope Robbie's in heaven.
Well, as we all know, one punch can kill. Do you agree?
No. He never even failed. By the way, have you not noticed? I'm no Mike Tyson.
Order in the court.
Mr. Rafferty, would you describe yourself as an honest man?
As honest as the day is long, that's me.
An honest man, you say. Yet on the 21st of January of this year, when stopped by the PSNI and asked your occupation due to suspicious circumstances, you claimed to be a local doctor returning from hospital. And when your bag was searched, it certainly did not contain items of medical instruments, but did contain items used for burglaries.
Objection, Your Honour. My client was not charged on that occasion.
Sustained. Keep to the point, Mr. Kane.
Apologies, Your Honour.
That was just a bit of a joke.
A bit of a joke, you say. Yet on April of this year also, you claim to be a part-time astronaut, a retired FBI agent, when arrested for being drunk and disorderly on June the 10th. And on December the 14th, you claim to be an Interpol agent here on vacation. What will be next? An unemployed pop star?
Objection, Your Honour. My learned colleague is making fun of my client's expense.
I agree. Stay on point, Mr. Kane.
Apologies, Your Honour.
That was just a bit of crack.
A bit of crack indeed. And it seems your addresses have been just as bizarre. New York, Vancouver, Paris, and 10 Eglinton Place, which was knocked down 52 years ago.
But I did live there.
When you were 6. You seem to treat the law with an element of contempt. And I put it to you now, that is the case.
Bull.
Were you drunk on the night in question, Mr. Rafferty?
I was half lit.
How can you tell?
You just know.
Well, if you were half lit, as you say, why did you strike Mr. McBride?
He was winding me up. He called me a lying wee rat.
Did he indeed? One wonders why.
I forgot to do the bet. And the horse came on at 10 to 1.
So you kept the money?
No, the wife wanted me to paint the sitting room, so I did. And in between, I forgot to do the bet.
Did you return Mr. McBride's money?
I did indeed. And you got to go a long way to find a more honest man than me.
That's debatable. I'm sure the FBI and NASA would strongly disagree.
Can you not take a joke?
Not when it comes to murder. No further questions, Your Honour.
We will adjourn this case until tomorrow at 10 a.m.
All stand for Lord Justice Basil Buchanan presiding. You may be seated.
I regret to inform the court that our learned colleague, Mr. John Fletcher Kane, has tested positive for COVID-19. Mr. Henry James Parsons will continue for the prosecution. Mr. Parsons, will you make yourself known to the court?
With pleasure, Your Honour. I would like to call my first witness, Miss Aisling Moore.
Miss Moore, please raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible. Miss Moore, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Miss Moore, did you see Mr. Raymond Rafferty strike Mr. McBride, causing him actual bodily harm?
Aye. I saw the wee toe rag punching per Shifty McBride. God rest him.
Objection, Your Honour. The witness is insulting Mr. Rafferty.
Sustained. The witness will not insult the accused. You understand, Miss Moore?
Sorry, Your Worship. It's just every time I look at him, I think of per Shifty.
Would you say Mr. Rafferty was prone to bouts of violence?
He's prone to anything, the wee. He's prone to anything. You get him where a giraffe wouldn't.
Objection, Your Honour. The witness's opinion is irrelevant.
Sustained. Stick to the facts, Miss Moore.
Sorry, Your Worship.
So you saw the accused strike Mr. McBride for no reason whatsoever and fall as a result?
I did indeed.
No further questions, Your Honour. Your witness.
Miss Moore, can you hear me?
What was that?
How good is your hearing, Miss Moore?
There's nothing wrong with my hearing. How's your own?
Please just answer the question, Miss Moore.
I don't need a hearing aid if that's what you mean.
Nothing wrong with your hearing, yet you did not hear what I said just then.
Well, if you whisper, I won't hear you.
Given that you weren't close enough to the conversation on the night in question, how do you know exactly what transpired?
Oh, I know, all right.
So in short, you heard nothing. You merely witnessed a confrontation between Mr. Rafferty and Mr. McBride.
Not exactly.
Did you hear anything at all?
Not really.
Thank you, Miss Smurf.
You may step down.
I would like to call my next witness, Your Honour, Mr. Finbar Murphy.
Mr. Murphy, please raise your right hand and put your left hand on the Bible. Mr. Murphy, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. Murphy, did you see the defendant on the night in question?
I did. And he was like a cat that got the cream.
By that, do you mean that he had accomplished something?
Well, that's the impression I got.
Did you see Mr. Rafferty strike Mr. McBride?
I didn't actually see him strike Mr. McBride, but that's his form. Hitting a drunk man that can't defend himself.
Was there blood on Mr. Rafferty?
There was on his shirt.
Did you ask him where it originated from?
Indeed it did. And he said he got what he deserved.
No further questions, Your Honour. Your witness.
Mr. Murphy, would you consider yourself an enemy of the accused?
Objection, Your Honour. Counsel is leading the witness.
Stick to the facts, Mr. Moriarty.
Apologies, Your Honour. I'll rephrase the question. Mr. Murphy, do you dislike Mr. Rafferty given the grave charge against him?
I never liked him and I don't trust him.
Did Mr. Rafferty ever give you reason not to trust him?
That boy's pulled plenty of moves in his day.
So by moves you mean crooked deals?
Exactly.
So these crooked deals were at your expense?
He's never caught me yet.
So in effect, this is merely hearsay?
The dogs in the street knows what he's like.
Clearly you do not, Mr. Murphy. As you have said in your own words, before this court, he has never caught you.
Aye, but he...
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. No more questions.
You may step down. The final witness in this case is Mr. Edward Evans.
Mr. Evans, please raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible. And Mr. Evans, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. Evans, you were with Mr. Rafferty on the night in question.
I was indeed.
And did you see him strike Mr. McBride?
Aye, I did. But safety was winding Smizer up.
And after the blow was struck, how did Mr. McBride seem?
He just looked normal, except he had a busted nose.
And did Mr. Rafferty apologise to Mr. McBride after the blow was struck?
Aye, he did. And I bought him a pint and a wee half too.
Oh, that's right. So there was no animosity between the two?
Definitely not.
And they remained on friendly terms?
Well, safety wasn't too happy because he got blood in his new shirt.
And did you see Mr. Rafferty and Mr. McBride leave the public house together?
I don't think so. I left first because I had to get a Chinese for my wife.
No more questions, Your Honour.
Your witness.
Do you consider yourself to be a good friend of Mr. Rafferty's, Mr. Evans?
Wee Smizer sound enough.
If Mr. Rafferty were to ask you, shall we say, tell a few porkies for him, would you do that?
Objection, Your Honour. This is simply hypothesis.
Sustained. Stick to the facts, Mr. Parsons.
Apologies, Your Honour. I was merely highlighting the fact that this witness is unreliable.
Who's unreliable? I suppose you never tell old Porky yourself. Everybody does.
Not during a trial for murder. No further questions. Your witness.
Mr. Evans, have you ever been in trouble with the law?
I have not. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
And when you mentioned telling the odd porky, what you really meant was telling the odd white lie in order not to hurt someone's feelings.
Exactly.
But you would never tell deliberate lies if someone had committed a crime, would you?
100%. No chance.
Even if it was your best friend?
No. I just couldn't live with myself.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
You may step down.
Your Honour, I would like to call a character witness who has known the accused for many years. I call the highly respected and socially aware Mr. Mark H. Durkin to the stand.
Mr. Durkin, please raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible. Mr. Durgan, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Your Honour, I've known Raymond Rafferty for many years now, I'd say about 15 years, and otherwise undisputably a somewhat colourful character. He's also a thoroughly decent human being. Granted, he has had a few run-ins with the law, but deep down, in my view, he's a man that could not, and indeed would not, be capable of murder. I know that he sometimes comes across as a bit carefree and indifferent to the laws of the land, but that's simply the image that he conveys. He adopts the persona of a happy-go-lucky sort of character simply because he's so easily hurt. I've had many's a heart-to-heart conversation with Raymond over the years due to difficulties that he has encountered and experienced, and I can tell you with the utmost sincerity, Your Honour, that he is a man of good character who has encountered many trials and tribulations and simply wishes to turn his life around. I also knew Mr. McBride, the deceased, and to the best of my knowledge, himself and Raymond were very close friends and had indeed planned to go into business together. To suggest that Mr. Rafferty has been involved in this murder in any way whatsoever is, in my sincere opinion, Your Honour, ludicrous. Thank you, Your Honour.
Thank you, Mr. Durkin. You may step down. We will now have the summing up. Mr. Parsons.
This is a cut and dried case. Mr. Raymond Rafferty has, I believe, and still does, flout the law. He regards the law of this land with an element of humour and indeed contempt. He has blood on his hands. The blood of the deceased Mr. Robert McBride. He admits to having argued with Mr. McBride on the night in question and having forcibly struck him. I ask you, are these the actions of an innocent man? Or a man who cannot control his temper and is capable of the heinous crime of murder? There can only be one verdict. And that verdict is guilty as charged. I rest my case.
Mr. Moriarty.
What justice if there is no justice? What future for a man like this? A man, by his own admission, has faults and failings. Yet he has said that he could not and did not commit this crime. Who among you has not told a lie? Who among you has not felt hurt and angry at the actions of someone else? Raymond Rafferty may be described as a humorous, happy-go-lucky individual, but he is not a murderer. If there is a shred of doubt in your mind of this man's guilt, then he must be declared innocent. I rest my case.
Members of the jury, you may retire to reach your decision. Foreman of the jury, have you reached your verdict?
We have not reached a decision, Your Honour. We had a hung jury.
You have heard the arguments for and against the accused. Now you decide.
Worst miser, grew older but no wiser. He led a life of petty crime. Could he really do it? Can the prosecution prove it? Should he do the time?
In a noisy courtroom the charges were read. How did poor old Shifty end up dead? Lawyers and the jury will decide Smiser's fate. Could he really murder his best pal and best mate?
Poor miser, grew older but no wiser. He led a life of petty crime. Could he really do it? Can the prosecution prove it? Should he do the time?
Smiser had forgotten to play Shifty's bet. Shifty was so angry and called him a rat. Smiser laughed at Shifty, a close witness said. He hit the ground so hard, poor Shifty was dead.
Poor Smiser grew older but no wiser. He led a life of petty crime. Could he really do it? Can the prosecution prove it? Should he do the time?
Smiser was a con man, a liar, a thief, and when he had a skinful, give everyone grief. Did he murder Shifty with one single blow? What do you think? Yes or no?
Poor Smiser grew older but no wiser. He led a life of petty crime. Could he really do it? Can the prosecution prove it? Should he do the time? Should